Morning. Today is Monday. It is Monday. We'll read from the Wild Unknown Tarot by Krans. I've got her Animal Spirit deck out too, so we might do that one as well. Maybe. Now this is a reading for the collective. If you want your own private reading, give me a message, direct message me on any of the platforms where this will post. You'll see it on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Hope you're well. We're off to a start of a lovely week. It's early morning, so it's humid but not so hot, so I'm going to be out here on the porch today. You might hear the planes going over. I don't live near an airport, but I live in the flight path of one. And I like to be out on the deck. I like to be outside as much as possible. Notice the light is already changing in the evenings. I hope your summer has been interesting, delightful, full of wonders. Five of Wands. Two cups coming together, two cards coming together, the Two of Cups and the Daughter of Cups. Final card is Eight of Pentacles. Interesting that in this deck, it's also a spider web. In the Shadowscape Tarot, it's also a spider creating a web. Bottom of the deck is the Five of Cups and the Son of Pentacles, which is the Knight of Pentacles, and the Magician, and the Fool. So interesting energies for us to work with today. So the Five of Wands shows that there's some kind of it's a little more benign, if you will. I like to think of it that way than the Five of Swords, which is more ideological and thought processes, like the way we attitudes and communication breakdown. This is more, there's a little bit of a communication breakdown about like the way we're going to go about doing something. So, and that may be an internal struggle. I didn't check my astrology charts before coming to the reading, but so there might be just a little bit of a struggle about how we're going to approach doing this. Like, I'll tell you, I had like power struggles. It's like a power struggle, right? Going on with my cats this morning. So, but that's real. Like when you see that stuff happening, like where do you see it happening? And if you see it like happening, no matter where it's happening, it's an opportunity to learn, how to perhaps work together a little more, little better, listen, maybe, and so we can come back to that place of harmony, which is the Four of Wands, right? The Four of Wands is the card that precedes this. So sometimes, when we are, no matter what, in our up close relationships and in family situation especially, there's always going to be some kind of tussle and power struggle, because everybody, each of us are different individuals. So there's ways that, approaches towards doing something, or the way we want to conduct ourselves in general. There's always going to be some kind of friction. And so that's where we can come into, like, the central card of the reading is coming into that place of getting messages about what are the emotional undercurrents. So the Daughter of Cups in this deck is the Page of Cups. So getting information about, and how do we want to use our voice? How do we want to use that emotional the information that we're getting from our emotions? Maybe it's frustration. Maybe it's, again, like, what are the kinds of things that in your mind, if you sit back and think about it, when I get into power struggles, what's actually going on? So that can, help us have, again, more harmonious, connections, and look at one another in more of a divine, understanding that we're all divine creatures. Each of us, again, are very unique. So, take a swan coming into this, means kind of taking a step back, like kind of taking a solo little side trip to kind of understand my own emotions a little better. What am I actually bringing to these relationships, these connections? Whether it's a pair, going into a more, looking at things in a more spiritual aspect, your own spirit, and then, how, that spiritual, pairing is occurring or not occurring, or not, you know what I mean, which brings us to this. So what can I do that is going to bring things into a more harmonious thing, and with a situation. So, and then recommitting to, Eight of Pentacles is about, like, okay, what's the work I need to do in order to recommit to continue doing the work to be a better networker, and create my home, making it beautiful, knowing that, everything, like I said, was saying yesterday, is fragile. Everything is temporary. It's here, being in a sense of appreciation for the work in and of itself is a way to create beauty, to appreciate what you're doing and appreciate what others are bringing, especially with a spider web. What's that network? What's the web you're weaving? What's your legacy? What are you trying to create around you, that inspires beauty and awe and wonder, by doing the small things. It's not trying to go, for all the glory of your, because sometimes things don't turn out the way that you want them to, but, instead of looking at the three cups that, a Five of Cups is usually three cups tipped over, and two cups that are not being seen because you're kind of still focused on what isn't going well, or what isn't emotionally fulfilling. Going back to yesterday's reading, we're wanting to cultivate deeper, more spiritual, connections, more authentic connections that vibe with who we are. Water, the vibration in water. Think about whales, like, and creatures that, that emanate their sounding through water. How that comes and how that calls to them the help that they need, be it their own species or not. And so with the Five of Cups, like, I see that these cups are actually all upright, but this horse is looking down. It's not even noticing that there are five cups. I see that we have two fives here that are offered. So five is thought. It's the mind. And Mercury has just ingressed into Leo as of yesterday. So things, we still might be having a little bit of a retrospective, but some of that Cancer retrograde might be being pulled a little bit into, where you've gone on the day to day. But the past is over, and instead of looking down, look up at what is available Son of Pentacles. This is the Knight of Pentacles. Another Pentacles on the deck. That means that we're, this is the slowest moving knight. This is the guy who's going to get it done no matter what, though. He's going to keep at it, keep at it, keep at it. And so this kind of doubles down on the 8, like understanding what the commitment is, and that we do commit, and we do, even if we are in these little bit of power struggles, we remain committed. We remain committed to improving our communication, improving our emotional intelligence, our listening skills, our ability to see and look at one another as spiritual beings. And then, we have the Magician and we have the Fool. So then we're able to have like new beginnings, and we are able to make the most, like, pull in like other elements that aren't on the deck today, such as, well, we do have fire, we do have water, and we do have pentacles, but you're also able to pull in the air element, which I see the sword is featured very prominently in this Magician card, which came up for me again. And like I was just noticing how the sword, that intelligence, that ability to to engage the thoughts, the mind, to strengthen the mental framework, that is actually a real necessary piece, like to strengthen the mental framework, to not look at things that they're, that's necessary in order to not always look at things as a suck fest, because things can be hard. Things can be hard, and they can also, we can take, we can do hard things and also turn them into something that is more, more graceful, more of what we want, more, better networking and better connections with one another, better connections to ourselves. So I'm going to leave it at that. I hope you enjoyed the reading. Like, share, subscribe on any of the platforms where you see this, or send it directly to somebody who you think might need to hear it. That's all of that kind of stuff is an easy way to make sure the messages get into people. Again, networking, who you don't even know might need to hear it. Thanks so much. Have a great day.